Munson, Massachusetts, he'll be driving the Johnson Race Chassis number 53. Would you welcome David Cesarillo?
Next door to him in car number 55, a rookie competitor from Danbury. In the R. McClure & Son Landscaping Cavalier, it's Mike Keeler.
West Boylston Auto Parts brings us car number 79. He is the 2003 SK Modified Division champion. He's shown consistent great runs here at Stafford. Would you welcome the former champ himself, Kerry Malone?
Here is a driver who cut his teeth at Stafford in the late 70s and early 80s. Today, he's back behind the wheel of car number 84 from Plainville, Connecticut. It's John Bergetti.
23rd starting spot is an individual who's a second-generation driver. Fact is, his dad competed in fall final events and ended up in the winner's circle here at Stafford. Would you welcome the driver of the Brightside Incorporated number 09 from East Granby, Connecticut, Jay Miller.
One of the veteran drivers sits in the 22nd position, car number 22 with one win in 2004. The Ferguson Company providing the sponsorship for Lloyd Agor.
Next we move to a brother combination. From Monterey, Massachusetts, the Lebanon Valley Speedway sponsored number 5. He's done a great job in his first full season of competition. Give a nice round of applause to the driver of car number 5 for Chris Tryon.
This driver came out of retirement in a big way in 2004 in the 20th position aboard car number 47 from Waterbury in the Whisk Clorox Racing Cavalier. Let's meet Steve Shawansky.
Next we go to a driver who literally cut his teeth competing at the tracks in the area. He'll drive the Cooker Construction Company number 90. From Somers, Connecticut, he's run up front all season long in the point standings. Young and talented, car number 90, and its driver, Todd Owen.
His teammate will start in the 18th position, sitting inside car number 9 from Ellington. Reliable welding and speed. Bring us Brad Hietala.
17th starting position. This gentleman has come on strong in the August and September events. He's an independent runner, the driver of the Gene Lankin Volkswagen number 6. From Manchester, Connecticut, car number 6 for Chris Osella.
By his side, starting 16th aboard car number 29 from Meriden in the Savales Front Row Auto Repair Cavalier, a man with 2 wins in 2004, James Savali.
Next we go to car number 1. That's the Porter Chester Institute machine. From Ellington, Connecticut, a fine independent runner. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome Rich Vassar.
Next on the lineup is car number 97 from Milford. The sponsor of this car is Earth Technology, and the driver is Doug Kobe.
Next we go to a man who needs absolutely no introduction. When it comes to SK Modified Racing or anything with wheels on it, this man has been able to put it into victory lane. He is the champ of champs. From Plainville, Connecticut, driving Jimmy Galante's Mystique Motorsports number 13. Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Christopher.
And next door to Ted is his brother from Plainville, Connecticut, a 3-time champion at Stafford Motor Speedway aboard car number 33, Mike Christopher.
Next we move to a gentleman who started his racing career competing in the SK Modifieds. He went on to conquer the Featherlight Modified Series. He sits behind the wheel of the Arbito Convenience Store number 39. He'll be doing double duty this afternoon from Ridgefield, Connecticut, car number 39 for Todd Zaggety.
Now let's meet our top 10 competitors. Starting in the 10th position, car number 3 from Manchester, the Davidson Company brings us Jeff Malave.
Next we go to another outstanding competitor. He drives the Cliff Nelson Motorsports Data Capture Solutions number 18. From Enfield, Connecticut, we've watched this driver mature in 2004. Ladies and gentlemen, car number 18 for Jeff Burrell.
By his side on the grid is car number 20 from Monterey, Massachusetts. A driver sponsored by Lebanon Valley Speedway. One of the young up-and-comers. Let's meet Sean Tryon.
From Rocky Hill, Connecticut, this gentleman has always been strong. They referred to him as the young gun, and now he's setting his sights even harder and higher on the Featherlight Modified Series. But today, he'll take on the challenge of the SK Modifieds. Driving the Cause Auto Sales, North End Auto Parts number 54. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Eric Burns.
This driver has made the transition from late models to SK Modifieds without blinking an eye. In car number 81 in the Prestige Motorsports American Sleeve Bearing Pontiac Sunfire, it's the Woodman, Woody Petcat.
Jean-Guy Poulin Drywell brings us car number 78. Chuck Docherty has shown his talent in every division that the Stafford Motor Speedway has to offer. The big question is today, will he close the season with a victory? His fans are supporting him heavily today. From Springfield, Massachusetts, car number 78 for Chuck Docherty.
After struggling in 2003, this driver is a contender again in car number 96 from Canton, Connecticut in the Kart Track Cavalier. Let's meet Kurt Brainerd.
Moving now to the inside of the second row. This gentleman is an independent runner from South Windsor, Connecticut. Hard-working guy who just loves open-wheel modified racing. The head and incorporated number 27. The driver is John Roscoe Sandberg.
Starting second in the field in car number 7, the definition of hard trier here at Stafford Motor Speedway, Independent Services brings us the Chevrolet Monte Carlo, driven by Stafford's own Willie Hardie.
And at the point, he'll bring the field to the green. It is car number 28 from Madison, Connecticut. A second-generation driver, the M&D Racing Enterprises sponsor-wanted Chevrolet Cavalier. Ladies and gentlemen, your pole setter, Mike Holdridge.
So we have a driver change in car number 97. Taking over the ride will be Frank Rocco. So when the cars get onto the speedway bed, we'll see the 97 drop to the rear of the field. But if you've seen Frank Rocco in action before, especially in long-distance races, you know he is capable of moving to the upper echelon in a hurry.
There is no doubt about it. The Stafford Motor Speedway Dodge Weekly Racing Series scoreboard shows 50 laps, 50 circuits around the half mile. This is the one they'll be talking about all winter long. These are Jackaroot's dream cars, the SK Modifieds, 2,600-pound race cars. They are twins to the Featherlight Modified Series cars that you'll see coming out next. The big difference is only in the horsepower and a little bit of the setup. They say that these race cars are momentum race cars. You have to keep the RPMs up through the turns to carry you all the way down the straightaway. These drivers have matured. They've left an impression here at Stafford. And you come out on this CarQuest Fall final weekend to see them perform for the very final time. In just a few moments, we'll be turning things over to Tony Sutton, trackside, for the most famous words in motorsports. And then after that, when the field moves from the starting grid, we want you to give them a send-off, something extra special today, because after all, it's going to be a long, cold winter ahead. And there won't be Friday nights in the SK Modifieds to heat things up for you. But right now, before we go to the festivities before the start, we'll now go to Tony Sutton.
Well, thank you very much, Ben. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of excitement down here. Drivers are all getting strapped in. We're waiting for the signal from the officials that we can say those magic words to get this thing going here for 50 laps of the SK Modifieds. And until then, we've got a lot of excited young people down here. Grandsons from one of the officers at CarQuest, John Frisello, and we're going to kick that off just as soon as we get the go from the NASCAR officials.
So they're strapping the drivers into their automobiles. In just a few moments, we'll be ready for the start. Matt, it has been a great 2004 season.
Yeah, every week is almost, the races almost haven't been decided until the last lap every week of the season. Parity, I guess, is one word you could use to describe that. And you talked about momentum race cars. When you lose that momentum, it takes you 2 or 3 laps in which to get it back. So that's very important. Momentum and also track position as these drivers will try to work their way up to the front. You got a lot of brand names in this division, including the 2003 champion, Kerry Malone, starting in the rear of the field. So I don't think it'll take those guys that long to start passing some cars.
You know, here at the Stafford Motor Speedway, there are 2 magical ingredients in the success of any one of the race programs. Those ingredients are double file restarts, and fast cars usually start at the rear of the field. But for Kerry Malone, it's like starting in the parking lot.
Yeah, he almost needs a passport to get his way to the front, and we'll see if he can do it. Those are the magic. Double file will make you smile. Qualify through heats, or you should be obsolete. And the quicker cars to the rear, so the fans will cheer. And those three magical ingredients here at the Stafford Motor Speedway.
Final preparation, a couple of the drivers having a little bit of a problem with their radios and the communication in their race cars. Safety, of course, the most important ingredient in mind when it comes to preparing the competitors for the actual competition. Take a look before we begin at the men that stand behind the inside wall. Those are truly the heroes of this great sport that don't get recognized and don't get the credit that they so justly deserve. I think it's kind of appropriate where we're waiting here that we give the crew members and all of those people that work behind the scenes for the SK Modified division a nice round of applause to show them that we appreciate their efforts, because without those men and women behind the scenes, these cars that you see before you couldn't put together the type of competition that you often hear the drivers talk about. We heard Mr. Brasacco in Victory Lane saying, I couldn't do it without my crew. I've got the easiest job in the place. And those crew members are the people that create the magic behind the stage and behind the curtain.
Yeah, and on a lot of occasions, some of the reasons that the drivers are in the top 10 in the standings are because of the adjustments that their crew were able to make to those race cars during the course of a race. So the crew, a very significant part of what's gone on in 2004.
And it appears they are just checking now with the final cars and competitors, looking to give the command, and we'll turn things over to Tony Sutton once we have that information.
Where do you go for top quality replacement parts for your import or domestic car or light truck or competitive prices? Where do you go for expert advice on how to solve your vehicle's problems? You go to your neighborhood CarQuest Auto Parts store. There's one near you. Visit CarQuest.com. Down to Tony Sutton.
Well, everybody's in. They're all strapped in their seats. We're just about ready to go, but we need some information. We need the words we're waiting for to get this thing underway. So, Gage, John, and Tyler, what are we going to do?
Driver, start your engine!
Ah, the sound of youth and the sound of excitement.
And the sound of engines.
For more than a generation here at Jackaroot Stafford Motor Speedway, there's been one song that has kicked things off. It's the theme from Shaft. The intensity of the sound of that song over the Bose PA system here at Jackaroot Stafford Motor Speedway has had many a heart start pumping. Today is no exception to the rule. In just a moment, the parade of all the colors in the rainbow. These are true Friday night warriors. These are the pride of the Stafford Motor Speedway. They're open-wheel cars. That's what traditionally people in the northeast region of the country always liked. For a long time, they had a difficult time adjusting to full-bodied racing. But when an open-wheel modified came to this half mile, the seats were full and the enthusiasm was there. Today is no exception to the rule. Everybody's come out to celebrate this CarQuest Fall Extravaganza. We thank Rich Malave and we thank all the people associated with CarQuest for a job well done.
You know, Ben, the modifieds are Connecticut's car. Maybe in different parts of the country, they like different varieties of race cars. But here at Stafford, it's always been the modifieds. It's Stafford Motor Speedway, the home of the SK Modifieds, and as Jackaroot Sr. has often said, when you go to McDonald's, you expect to see hamburgers. And when you go to Stafford Speedway, you expect to see the modifieds.
The field moves from the starting grid. Down into turn number 1, Mike Holdridge and Willie Hardie. John Sandberg, Kurt Brainerd, Chuck Docherty, Woody Pitcat, Eric Burns, Sean Tryon, Jeff Burrill, Jeff Malave, Todd Zegedy, Mike Christopher, brother Ted Christopher, Frank Rocco behind the wheel of his race car now, with Rich Masser, James Savelli, Chris Cicella, Brad Hytella, Todd Owen, Steve Shawansky, Chris Tryon, Lloyd Agar, Jay Miller, John Bergenti, Kerry Malone, and our final two men, the 53 of Dave Sazzarillo, all ready to do battle, set to go racing.
And you know, Ben, in case some of the fans are wondering what kind of a driver Todd Szegedy is in the SK Modifieds, he has done something that no other driver has accomplished here at Stafford.
That's right. He has been able to win a 21 means 21 event, start scratch in the main event, and win the feature event, all in the course of one evening in less than a couple of hours.
No one else has done that. The man with a shot to do it today, James Savali in car number 29, won yesterday's 21-lap feature, as we have less than 3 laps to go before we get this one started. 50 breathtaking laps.
Dave Sazzarillo's car stops off turn number 4. We are less than 1 mile from the start.
Dave Sazzarillo, another one of those old-fashioned drivers who builds a lot of parts for that race car by himself. Not too many guys do that anymore, but Dave Sazzarillo is one of the throwbacks, along with Brad Hightower in car number 9.
Well, it's kind of appropriate. We've had a great season for Friday night competition here at Jack Arute Stafford Motor Speedway, and the Arute family are not about to give up. They're going to make 2005 bigger and better than ever before. So this time, as they head into turn number 3 and head off turn number 4, I think it's appropriate that all of us stand up and give them a send-off, because this is the final time in 2004 that you'll witness the excitement of the SK Modified Division. Ladies and gentlemen, join with me in a tribute. Wave anything you've got. Stomp your feet and give them a big send-off, because these are the men that you've witnessed every Friday night at Jack Arute Stafford Motor Speedway. These are truly the men that live by the grace of God. They are what the CarQuest program is all about. The guy next door going up against the big guns. This is Jack Arute's SK Modified Division. Hats off to these teams, these competitors, these drivers who have performed to perfection all season long. They have come to entertain you, and you have come out in full force to support them.
And on the front row, second-generation driver Mike Holdridge in car number 29. His father used to compete here against the likes of the Jeff Bodines and the Richie Evans. Today, Mike Holdridge is starting alongside Willie Hardie, former Pro Stock champion here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Today trying for his first win of the season in an SK Modified.
There is no question about it that those stories and several other are about to be written into the record books. John Houlihan on the starter's stand, clenched white flag in hand. Clenched yellow flag, and now there's the white flag being displayed. We are ready, Matt, for the start of this event. If you were a betting individual and you were betting on the front row, you'd have to look at it like this. Mike Holdridge has been so strong all season long, he is long overdue for a victory and perhaps an odds-on favorite. But Willie Hardie has been there and done that so many times. For him, it could just be another day in the sun here at Stafford.
Willie has the experience. Mike Holdridge has the motivation. And in the second row, you have John the Stuntman Sandberg looking for his first ever win at Stafford Motor Speedway. So a lot of drivers have so much to shoot for as we get ready for competition.
Off turn number 4, everybody on the edge of their seats in anticipation. This is what the Stafford Motor Speedway has been founded on. The SK Modified's about to go green off turn number 4. The CarQuest SK Modified feature event is underway.
John Sandberg did not come up to speed, and that sent Sean Tryon into the grass.
But off the second turn, things start to settle in, and it's 2 cars. Make it 3. Check that now. Make it 4 at the point, with Mike Holdridge leading them back to the line. The yellow and neon orange machines now being challenged by Willie Hardie. Trouble. Jeff Burrell gets crossed up middle of the pack.
And Burrell is in John Deere country in turn 4. Mike Holdridge, the leader. Good battle for 4th and 5th. And streaking into the number 4 position is Eric Burt.
To the line they come, and the first caution of the event comes out with 1 lap up on the board. Jeff Burrill, who literally spun to the inside between turns 3 and 4, could not get the car fired back up, and the caution would come out, as now he's looking to head back perhaps to the rear of the field. We'll be checking with timing and scoring to see if he did go down a lap in the competition here. Heartbreaking situation for Burrill. And before that, the number 20 car, Matt, on the front straightaway, you described that situation as it occurred.
Well, it looked like the inside row did not come up to speed as the 27 car of John Sandberg kind of slowed down. That backed everyone up in the row at kind of like a watermelon speed, squirting out onto the grass was Sean Tryon. And that was the first altercation, but we stayed under green, and it wasn't until Jeff Burrell hit the grass at turn 4 that the yellow flag came out. And shows you how quickly your fortunes can turn in this sport. The last Friday night, Jeff Burrell was a winner. Tonight he winds up, or this afternoon he winds up on pit road on just the first lap.
Sure does. Work continues as they take a look at turns 3 and 4. Literally some dust and debris there, but right now let's go down on pit road to check out what's happening there.
Thanks a lot, Ben. I was down in the Jeff Burrell pit talking to his crew. He's coming down pit road, but they're going to have to stop him. The car has no brakes. Going into corner number 1, contact with another car might have knocked the brakes out of car number 18. You can see how slow he's rolling into his pit box. The crew over the wall, safety helmets on the car. You can see grabbing the Nerf bar to stop car number 18 of Jeff Burrell. They're looking at the front end towards the race car, trying to find maybe a brake line has been pinched off. Now they check towards the rear of the car. They didn't see anything right now in the front. The hood cowling going to come off. Now they're calling for some tools. They might have found the problem, as now they're going to go to work on the 18 car to try to get him back out in the event.
Well, while work continues there, of course, the field is now starting to double up, and the clock is ticking. Time is running out, Matt. With 1 lap into the record books, for Jeff Burrill, his hopes of a great finish for 2004 is not looking that good.
Yeah, Ben, have you ever driven a car without brakes? It sounds scary, especially when you're surrounded by walls and barriers like here at the Stafford Speedway.
Well, it appears at car number 18, they do get the hood back on the race car. Andy Crane was just there. We'll check back in with Andy and see if he can tell us exactly what they did. Andy?
Well, Ben, they found something in the right rear that wasn't good. Jeff Burrell's going to pull it behind the wall, and he is done before he even gets 1 lap complete.
Well, Cliff Nelson earlier today was posing with all of his team down there celebrating at the pit party. There won't be much celebrating tonight for them. A heartbreaking situation for one of the front-running teams in this SK Modified main event. Let's see what's going to happen off turn number 4. Picture-perfect restart. Holdridge with a slight advantage. Willie Hardie looking to gain momentum in the outside lane. Bottom of turn number 1. It is Holdridge, but short-lived. Here comes Hardie on the outside. Eric Burt in there to contend. 3 cars under a blanket down in turn 3.
Eric Burt has some firepower early on. Now Jeff Malave to the bottom of the racetrack, moving into third as he nudges that car past the Bulldog into third place.
Malave is a person with little patience but a ton of talent. He'll go into the 3rd spot. Trouble now, we've got one up high on the wall. It was Teddy Christopher who literally slammed the wall hard with the right front wheel of his race car. Involved in the altercation is, it looks like, the number 90 car, and that would be Todd Owens' race car, but somehow the 13 is able to pull away. The 3rd car involved is the 55 car of Mike Keeler. Keeler's machine is stopped on the racetrack itself, and literally at one point we saw Teddy Christopher's race car dart out of line, almost as if something locked up and literally tagged the wall. Now when you look at the right front of Teddy Christopher's race car, the damage does not look that severe. Let's go down a pit road.
Down in the Mystique Motorsports pit right now, the right front tire is wobbling pretty significantly right now. Is the crew going to take a look at it? Teddy was just caught in the wrong place at the wrong time as Kurt Brainerd made contact with Woody Pitcat. That sent Brainerd up the racetrack where Teddy Christopher was, and it shot him right to the wall. Right now, the front body work coming off of car number 13 as a crew trying to work feverishly right now to repair what looks like a bent spindle on the right front, guys.
Work still continues there. Meanwhile, a little further back on pit road, car number 90, that's the Cooker Construction Company car for Todd Owen. He too was a victim of circumstances. The story on that race car is the left front tire and the left front suspension. Matt?
And one car still out on the track, the 55 of Mike Keeler, and that car was destroyed pretty badly a couple weeks ago here during the regular season, and that crew just got the car back specifically for the fall final, and they were very proud to be here. The guys from Danbury but they run into a roadblock on the second lap.
Now we go to Tony Sutton down at pit road. He's right there with the number 90 car. Tony?
Well, Todd's crew is working on the wheel. The wheel is pushed in. It's actually caught on the drum, the front setup for the brakes, the front brakes on the number 90 car, and they cannot get the wheel to come over the brake system. They're now trying to bend the rim back so they can get it off, and all the time Todd Owen sitting in a car anxiously waiting for the guys to get the tire changed. It does not appear there's any front end damage beyond the wheel, but if they can't get it off, he's not going to be able to pull out of here.
Billy Keeler car now in the back of the hook, being brought back to the center of the infield. Now we go back to Andy Crane, who's watching what's happening with the Mystique Motorsports team. No mystery there.
Well, guys, what looked like to be a right front bent spindle is not. It's actually a tie rod that is the problem. The crew trying, just throwing tools over the wall. Teddy Christopher banging on the steering wheel, trying to get ready to go. Looks like the right front will be changed just for precautionary reasons, but the team is hopeful to get him back out before we go back to the green, guys.
So work still continues on Teddy Christopher's race car. The story is pretty much the same for Todd Owen. So let's set the field with 2 of the 50 laps now into the record books. Willie Hardie currently the man at the point with car number 7. Remember, he started this event in the outside row. Mike Holdridge led, well, almost a lap and a half. He currently sets in second. Jeff Malave is marching to the front with a vengeance in the Davidson Company car, setting in position number 3. Then it's Eric Byrne in the 4th spot. Chuck Docherty in position number 5. 6th spot is the number 96 of Kurt Brainerd. 7th spot is Woody Pitcat. 8th spot is Todd Zegedy. 9th position is John Sandberg. And rounding out the top 10 is Mike Christopher with car number 33. James Savali sets just out of the top 10. How impressive is that? Well, in 2 circuits, he's getting closer to the front, but now pulls out of line. And it appears that car number 29 might have a mechanical problem as well, Matt. It looks like he's pulling up to the pace car, an indication that he'll be coming down on pit road. So Tony Sutton and Andy Crane are going to have their hands full as they're going to check with the 29 team. We can see, if you look to the center, right behind where it says NASCAR Dodge Weekly Series, you'll see that the 29 team is starting to prepare for the car to come in, but all of a sudden, that enthusiasm has suddenly slowed down just a bit. Is the problem more severe? Let's go to Andy Crane, who's right there while it's all happening.
James Savali brings car number 29 down pit road and into his pit box. He's pointing to the rear part of the race car. He's talking on the radio to the crew as they're looking towards the left rear shock right now, and the right rear shock might just be a chassis adjustment, guys, as a crew member reaching in there and turning one of those adjustable shocks both on the left and the right. They drop the car. James Savali is off and gone. So that's what it was, guys. It was just a chassis adjustment. Of course, we're only 2 laps in this 50-lap event, so there's still a lot of time for James Savali to come back up through the field.
Matt, we should point out that James Savali's father is a master mechanic, and he likes to get things perfect. He is a perfectionist by trade, and that's perhaps exactly what he did. He saw what the car did for 2 laps, knew it wasn't quite right, and has made that adjustment. Teddy Christopher is coming back out. It didn't look good the way he turned to come back on the racetrack. Maybe this is just a temporary fix to ride it out to the next caution. Stay tuned. There's more to follow in the saga as Teddy Christopher will try to get back to the front as we go to green off turn number 4.
And Willie Hardie, it's like he was fired from a grenade launcher as he takes over the top spot. Moving into second place, Jeff Malave, who is on a roll in car number 3.
Docherty now challenges on the inside. The Jean Guy Poulin Drywell, number 78, runs to the bottom. Woody Pitcat right there waiting in the wings. Eric Burns gets shuffled back in the outside lane. Meanwhile, Holdridge literally sideways that time coming off turn number 4. The inside lane opens up, and now we've got Pitcat and Holdridge challenge for the 4th spot down the back straightaway.
So Woody, trying to nail down Rookie of the Year honors for 2004, has just blasted his way into 4th place, and trying to follow him to the top 5 is John Sandberg in car number 27.
Chuck Docherty now all over the back bumper of Jeff Malave. He's right there, glued to him off the second turn. Challenge is on for second. Malave's got a mirror full of white, and that white is Docherty. Here comes Pitcat, looking to send it on in down at turn number 3.
But he couldn't find enough elbow room on the bottom groove, so he tucks it in behind Docherty. Good 3-way battle later deep in the pack between Sandberg, Holdridge, and Eric Byrne in car number 54.
Well, all that's been happening further back in the field. Teddy Christopher's riding it out. Trouble now. Kurt Brainerd gets crossed up, gathers it back, but he loses, well, 5, 10, maybe 15 positions here. But we're still racing off turn number 4, and Malave literally have his front bumper glued to the back bumper of Willie Hardie. Visually, it appears that car number 3 is quicker down the straightaways, but Hardie is the guy that's holding on.
And now it is Malave all over Hardie, like ring around the collar. Here comes Docherty down low to try to take second place away, and he doesn't have enough pizzazz to pull off the move.
Meanwhile, we just received from the NASCAR officials, car number 39 is leaking some type of fluid on the racetrack. So Todd Docherty, you can see that fluid literally coming out of the race car, will be heading down on pit road. Back to the front of the field, that's where the heat is on. Willie Hardie is in command. Jeff Malave is there. Docherty is also a factor. And then it's Woody Pitcat. Now into the top 5, car number 27 for John Sandberg. Eric Byrne still challenging. Holdridge right there with him is Mike Christopher. Then it's Chris Acella and Brad Hytella.
The roll is continuing for Chris Acella as he tries to nail down another top 10 finish. The drum major of the parade is Willie Hardie, and the two guys really breathing fire trying to track him down, Malave and Docherty. And they are giving Hardie a lot to think about as the cars enter turn 4.
Let's go down on pit road.
Well, guys, Todd Docherty has brought the Jones Arbitel Racing car number 39 to the crew. It's something towards the rear part of the race car. Maybe a fuel line is what they're thinking. So,
well, it appears it's the expansion tank. James Savali's in trouble off turn number 2. Sideways, comes down across the racetrack, and we go to yellow. The radiator expansion tank on the 39 car for Todd Docherty. The car apparently overheating, and the fluid and the steam you saw come out of the back end of the race car. And as you look in front of the pit box of the 39, to the right of your scoreboard, you'll see the water that came out as part of the steam, and Docherty's race car was too hot to handle on this hot afternoon of racing here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. Second caution of the event comes out. Lap number 10 in this 50-lap event.
And as you predicted, Ben, the 13 of Ted Christopher is on his way to the pit road area. So that car not satisfactory as far as Ted Christopher is concerned. And he uses this yellow, which comes out on lap 10, to go get that problem taken care of. He is joined on pit road by Todd Owen in car number 90. So the top 2 in the point standings are both on pit road at this time, Ted Christopher and Todd Owen.
The defending series champion is also down on pit road, and that, of course, the number 79 of Kerry Malone, as work continues there. We just received some additional information for aggression on the racetrack. Car number 47 is being black flagged. That's the Wiss Tablets machine for Steve Shawansky, and that's one of the stories to be told currently as we speak. Let's go down on pit road.
Well, the Docherty car had come in contact with another car and actually folded up the front sheet metal, and that was what was restricting the airflow over the radiator. So they opened that up, and that was what was causing the car to get hot. Now to go to Andy.
Thanks a lot, Tony. Back in the 13 pit area for Teddy Christopher, it was a bent tie rod on the right front. Now it's a bent tie rod on the left front. The crew going to try to readjust a toe on the race car. So this caution actually coming as kind of a break for Teddy Christopher. They're going to reset the toe and hopefully get him back out before we go back to green flag.
The strategy in this one for Teddy Christopher and his crew is to come in, make as much adjustments as you can before the field goes back to green. Cautions don't count here, so this gives them the opportunity to come out from the rear of the field, work their way back up a little bit, see what the car is actually doing, and go make an adjustment. Speaking of making adjustments, let's go down on pit road.
Well, James Savali back down on pit road, making another adjustment. They made the adjustment to the rear first, and now to the back end of the car. The crew trying to tell James Savali to stop. He drops the clutch and peels out, as we're going to try to get more information on that, guys.
Well, James Savali is a young, aggressive young guy, and of course he wants to go racing. Not well aware of all that's going on with his crew that surrounds the race car. He'll come back out and pick up at the rear of the field. Off turn number 4, the lights are still on the red Dodge safety vehicle provided by the New England Dodge dealers on this Car Quest event. Let's go back down on pit road.
Real quick, James Savali, it was the right and left front shocks that they adjusted. So, again, they adjusted all 4 shocks on car number 29 to try to make it handle here at Jack Road Stafford Motor Speedway.
Lap number 10 of 50. Field is doubling up, Matt.
And Ted Christopher remains on pit road. Let's see if he can get out in time as he broke the right tie rod. Then he broke the left tie rod. I guess you could say these are tying times for Ted Christopher.
Now the car doesn't fire up at first, and his crew is able to give him a push off. He'll pick up and rejoin the field. Remember last time when he went through that part of the exit of pit road, the car had a difficult time turning. It freed up just a little bit that time. Let's see what's going to happen when we go back to green. Off turn number 4, Willie Hardie is teamed up with a man. Well, these two guys, they swapped cars at one time. Let's see what's going to happen here. They're not going to swap anything but positions as they head down into turn number 1, and Hardie's got plenty of steam as he goes to the bottom of the racetrack. The neon orange and black number 7 runs at the point, and Chuck Docherty has moved into second. We've got trouble. Car number 96, for the second time in 10 laps, has spun somewhat all by himself, but the racing action is heated off turn number 4 as Docherty moves into second.
Yeah, he is providing most of the heat as he ducked underneath the 3-car of Malave. Now a good battle for 4th and 5th. John Sandberg trying to hang on. Behind him as a yellow comes out.
James Savali hits at a ton, Matt, beneath the TechNet Professional CarQuest billboard. Literally, it appeared that almost like a tire got cut. We can see Savali moving in the race car. He'll spin like a top and stop to the outside of the racetrack just before the www StaffordSpeedway.com logo in turn number 2. So in 11 laps, 3 cautions, the third one coming out for Savali, who's had an up and down afternoon during these first 11 circuits. Let's go down to pit road.
Well, I've caught up with the defending NASCAR Featherlight Modified champion, Todd Zeggety. And Todd, what put you out here in this SK Modified feature?
First, I want to thank the Jones brothers for putting me in the car. It's an awesome car. I really feel we could have won this today. On the restart there, a bunch of people bottled up, and we hit the front end and closed the nose up, and I wasn't getting any air to it. And then we got stuck there on the outside a couple of times. The car is really fast, so this is a car that could win every week. I had a good time, though. It was fun.
Well, Todd Zeggety out in this SK Modified feature event, but of course, you'll see him a little bit later in the CarQuest Fall Final main event for the NASCAR Featherlight Modifieds.
You know, Matt, one of the things that we talked about throughout the day and throughout the afternoon is how competitors come here to Stafford. They start in one division and they move up through the ranks. Perfect example is Todd Zeggety. He was able to win races in the SK Modified division, win races and a title in the Featherlight Modified series, and now he's setting his sights a little bit higher, looking to move to the next level.
Yeah, he raced 3 Busch Grand National races this year in 2004, and the speculation is maybe next year he will move on to the series full time. Of course, a lot can happen between now and February, but the future looks bright for Todd Zeggety, and it all started right here at this half-mile facility.
Well, the number 29 for James Savali being picked up hammock style by the wrecker. A very bad indication there. Let's go back down on pit road.
Well, James got out of the car and had some communication. One of the other drivers had to be restrained a bit so he didn't get run over. And he's still having conversation with some folks down here. James Savali very upset that he had a problem as a result of somebody else. But anyway, James is all right, and he still has enough strength to drag a couple of people around with him as he tries to indicate exactly how he feels.
Well, that's the bad news, all that's happening over there in turn 2. The good news for Teddy Christopher, Todd Owen, and Kerry Malone is this caution is going to be a little bit longer, giving them plenty of opportunity to continue to prepare and get their cars back out into the competition. Houlihan on the starter stand giving him the cross flags, an indication that the field is ready to double up. And just as we say that, Kerry Malone is about ready to rejoin in the competition here. Malone will pick up at the rear of the field.
He has an outstanding crew. The reason he won the championship last year, the quarterback of that crew, Jim Fuller, whose brother we'll see in a few moments, Rick Fuller, who will be competing in today's CarQuest 150.
Well, the Fuller family are literally loaded with successful race people. When it comes to drivers or turning wrenches or whatever the case may be, that Fuller family, you'll find their names in the record books as big contenders. There's no question about that. So before we go back to green, let's turn things back over to Dean Mercier. Dean?
Thank you, Ben. Imagine this, fans. You've just replaced the battery on your car and you leave for vacation. Get about 500 miles or so from home and something goes wrong. Problem? Not for you, not if you bought that battery at CarQuest. CarQuest Auto Parts stores back up what they sell with their CarQuest coast-to-coast guarantee. Honored at 4,000 CarQuest stores across North America. Remember, you'll find it at CarQuest. And Ben, while we have a minute, I've been told that from now till the end of this evening's racing program, Tom Baldwin black t-shirts are only $10, and they ask that you please stop by and support as they need your help to sell as much merchandise, Tommy Baldwin memorabilia, as they possibly can. All the money received today in that memorabilia sale of Tommy Baldwin Memorabilia will go to the Victory Junction Camp in North Carolina, and the memorabilia stand for Tommy Baldwin merchandise is located behind the main grandstands, Section C of the main grandstand, so we ask that you take part in that endeavor. More now with 11 laps left, 11 laps up on the Jackaroot Stafford Motor Speedway scoreboard in this 50-lap SK modified feature. Let's go back as we get ready to go green to Ben Dodge and Matt Buckler.
Well, the field doubles up. We're about ready to go back to green flag competition. 3 cautions in 11 circuits. Pit road action has been heavy. James Savali's car being brought back behind pit road is car number 18. Although it's several laps down, still trying to pick up some very valuable points for the Cliff Nelson Motorsports team, as Jeff Burrill will pick up at the rear of the field. They're paired off in rows of 2. They'll pass beneath the Diamond Vision screen down the back straightaway, and Houlihan signaling to the field. Car number 18, we believe unofficially, is 10 laps down. So you might wonder why a competitor would come out knowing he's 10 laps down, but every position he gains, if there is an accident or a car that falls out, is a position that he will obtain more points for. Those points could decide a position further up in the standings in 2004. Green flag is out. We're racing off turn number 4. New dynamic duo at the point, Docherty on the outside and Willie Hardie on the inside. Willie Hardie's just got some unbelievable horsepower, as now Docherty showing a little muscle of his own in the outside groove. John Sandberg's looking racy, Matt, down in turn number 3.
He is hanging tough on the outside. A little wiggle by Malave coming off the 4th corner, and that enables John Sandberg to make a tough pass on the outside.
Docherty's running on rails. He'll now take over second, forcing Malave as he goes up the hill just a bit. Willie Hardie sneaks in. Here comes Mike Holdridge. They are 3 wide. The meat in the sandwich here becomes Eric Burt with car number 54. Meanwhile, all that's been happening. Mike Christopher is coming to the front with the skill of a surgeon. He's bringing with him Jay Miller, Chris Acello, and Rich Vassar. 13 laps into the record books. It's still Hardie, but the big question is, for how long?
A little deeper in the pack, Ted Christopher trying to get on the outside of Lloyd Agor. So the black 13, it looks like it is back up to vintage condition, as right now he is plastered on the back bumper of the Chris Acello car.
Chris Acello now trying to go to the outside of the number 09 of Miller. It just doesn't happen there. Look a little further forward. Here comes Mike Christopher. He tries to sneak down low, and Docherty is reeling him in. Chuck Docherty makes the bonsai timely move of the event. He'll challenge for the lead. They'll touch off turn 4. We've got trouble.
And a traffic jam at turn 4. Rich Vassar, Lloyd Agor, all involved.
It all started when Mike Holdridge literally got crossed up, got sideways on the racetrack. Rich Vassar had no place to go. Frank Rocco became a victim of circumstances. And while all that was happening, Chuck Docherty was about, and he did, take over the lead, although it was short-lived as we go to yellow. 15 laps in, 4 cautions. The victim becomes the 97 of Frank Rocco, the 1 of Vassar, the 22, and the 20 cars were all involved in the altercation here, but it appears that Frank Rocco's day does not start out good. Yesterday afternoon, in their other race car, they had a drive shaft with a problem, came disconnected, came up through the floorboard of the race car. They worked on that to try to get it back together, and Doug Colby did such a great job with this race car during qualifying yesterday. Down on pit road, Brad Hightower is coming in, along with the 22. Let's go back down on pit road.
Well, Rick Vassar, the number 1 car is in. The right rear tire is being changed in the car, and they're trying to pull some sheet metal away from the car. It doesn't appear to have any damage on the front as far as steering or suspension, but they're working on the car right now to get it up. Now the jack slips off, so they've got to manually pick the back of the car up in order to get the jack up. Now down to Andy.
Thanks, Tony. As I'm working down to the pit area of Lloyd Agor, the Ferguson Pontiac, another car involved in that incident. Looks like the front end of the race car is a little bit mangled with the right front tire. The toe looks to be really knocked out of the right front tires. It's not pointing straight. The right front tire would be pointing away from the racing chassis. So they're working on that. Right behind him, Jay Miller, another car involved in that. Looks like the left front toe is knocked out, so the left front tire is pointing towards the inside part of the racetrack. So that's what's going down here on pit road. We'll throw things back upstairs.
Just saw the strangest thing of the afternoon. Mike Christopher came down pit road. There was nobody there to help him. He came down, he stopped, he looked at Tony Sutton, but there was nobody over the wall. Tony, Can you tell us what you saw?
They're still working, trying to adjust the toe on the number 13. And Mike pulled in front of them, and they all looked up and looked at Mike, and they went right back to work on the 13. And Mike just shrugged his shoulders and pulled back out on the racetrack.
Can you imagine that? Jimmy Galante's race team in for a good run here this afternoon with 2 race cars. Mike Christopher comes down looking for a chassis adjustment, discovers he's home, the lights are on, but nobody's there.
Do you think he wanted Tony to adjust the sway bar?
Tony's pretty versatile. He can do that and much, much more, but work still continues on Teddy Christopher's number 13 race car, and you see the improvement each and every time the car comes out, back down on pit road.
Well, guys, I just saw Frank Rocco pull back out onto the racetrack, but a whole trail of fluid followed car number 97. Of course, Doug Kobe qualifying the car, Frank Rocco, the owner of the race car, jumping in it come race time as a whole streak of fluid in the pit, down pit road, and back out on the racetrack. So we'll have to see if the Earth Technologies car number 97 makes his way back down on pit road.
And you can see the track crew checking to see if the 97, if the situation was only a minor one, or perhaps it is more severe than all of that. Coming back out, a few of the competitors that were involved in mix-ups, including the 09 of Jay Miller, the 5 of Tryon, also coming back out. Rich Vassar pulls behind pit road, and here comes Teddy Christopher back in. This time, Mike Christopher also right there coming down at pit road. Let's see if the brother gets neglected. Let's see what's going to happen here. Car number 33 back in.
Well, Christopher pulls up, and there are crew members going over the wall. They're looking at the stagger on the tires on the number 33 car as he had some contact, and some of the numbers are peeling off the car. But Mike Christopher in the 33 car, anxiously awaiting for the stagger to be adjusted as Ted Christopher gets pushed away by his crew. They have to bump the car because it will not start on its own. Adjustment made to the 33, and the Christophers pull out side by side.
So they make it back out?
Must be the worst feeling in the world, Ben, to go into your pit stall and see a ghost town there. You wonder if the crew's maybe trying to tell you something.
You know, in addition to that, imagine you're both twin brothers. Must be the story of once you were a little kid. Who got to play with the toys first, or who didn't get to play with the toys, is the story there. Stay tuned. We're going to see more great racing action as they're about to go back to green off turn number 4. It is still Willie Hardie on the inside. Docherty's going strong in the outside lane. Woody Pitcat has a problem initially on the restart, Matt.
And here comes Chuck Docherty trying to get to the outside of Willie Hardie. It looks like Docherty is tough on that outside groove. So the cloud of dust at the front of the field is named Chuck Docherty.
Docherty looks so strong in the outside lane. Willie Hardie fights back. They come off turn number 4. The Docherty fans are cheering him on as he heads down the front straightaway. First lead change of the event. Will it take place? Down in turn number 2, Hardie holds on the bottom. Docherty right there in the outside lane. Down to turn 3.
Good battle for 4th and 5th. John Sandberg on the bottom groove, and to his outside, Woody Pitcat. How would he love to finish his rookie year with a podium finish? But right now he has another problem on his hand as Chris Osella has tucked in behind car 81.
Trouble now. Eric Burt goes around directly in front of Steve Shawansky. The two will touch. Only minor contact there is 16 laps. We go back to yellow. Car number 54 and the 47 were the two cars that were involved. Minor contact on there. It should be a very quick caution before we go back to green. So 16 of the 50 laps now into the record books in this SK Modified event. Brought to you by your friends at CarQuest. Here's how they stand among the top 10 positions. Car number 7, Willie Hardie is your leader, the second leader of the event in 16 circuits. Chuck Docherty currently sets in second. Almost, well, one time he did have the lead, but then the caution flag came out. Jeff Malave sets in third. John Sandberg is fourth. Fifth position is Woody Pitcat. Sixth spot, Chris Osella. Seventh spot, we believe, is the Tryon race car, and unofficially in the 8th position is John Bergenti. Now from there on, it's pretty much your guess. Too close to call unofficially, Matt.
As we go downstairs for a pit report.
Well, Steve Chawansky, I'm in the Whisk Racing Chevrolet pit right now. The crew first thought he was going to come in, then he wasn't going to come in. Now you can see Steve Chawansky drops car number 47 onto pit road, so they are going to make a stop here. As Shawansky now pulls car number 47 into his pit box, the crew going to the back end of the race car. Steve has radioed he needs an adjustment towards the back end of the race car. The car was too loose. He also said there was just problems. He just got caught up in early racing. He said guys aren't being patient out there as they don't realize that we have 10 more extra laps in this main event. So Steve Shawansky getting checked out from the crew right now. They look at the rear end. They're going to look at the front end. And If everything's okay, they'll give Steve the thumbs up, which they did, and Steve should be pulling back out on the racetrack.
We should also point out there is a little different strategy going on here this afternoon. Remember, for all of the events during the course of the 2004 season, with the exception of this event, most of those events are run during the evening. When the sun is set, conditions are completely different than they are today. This has been a hot, steamy afternoon, and of course, that affects the setup on these race cars. Speaking of affecting the setup, let's go back down to pit road to find out.
Eric Burt brought the number 54 in, and they actually made a front-end adjustment on the sway bar because he didn't like the way the car was handling, and there was no damage that was apparent from the incident out on the racetrack, but they adjusted the sway bar left front on that car in order to make it stick better going into the corners.
Well, Burt makes it back out. He'll pick up at the rear of the field. They're doubling him back up, Matt, down in turn 3.
Well, I think you made a pretty good point, because the only other day race of the year, the Spring Sizzler, that was an overcast afternoon. We haven't had conditions like this all year long. As the beginning of this race, it's been like ketchup trying to come out of the bottle. It's been difficult to get any flow at all.
Off turn number 4, we're about to go back up through the gears. Docherty with a slight advantage as they come off the turn. Willie Hardie does not win the drag race this time, but down to the bottom between turns 1 and 2. Watch Willie Hardie. He steps on the gas. That car responds quicker. But on the other end of the racetrack, what's it going to be, Matt, down at turn 3?
Docherty giving him all he could handle as Chuck hanging out in the glove compartment, but Hardie just has too much power, and John Sandberg with a nice move to duck into 4th place, 1 notch ahead of Woody Pitcat.
Pitcat setting back in the 5th spot. 6 is Chris Osella. Tryon sets in the 7th spot, and Kerry Malone is trying to work his way back into contention here. Jeff Malave pulled out a line. He came up alongside of Docherty. Just didn't work that time as they come back to the line. The Christopher brothers working their way back to the front of this field. Ted Christopher and Mike Christopher working things to their advantage, side by side and evenly matched down into turn 3.
It didn't take long for the 13 and the 33 car to infiltrate the top 10. The car with a bite on the bottom is Ted in car number 33 of Mike Christopher as he pulls even with Kerry Malone into turn 2.
No question about it. Those two cars are coming on strong. It's 19 laps in. When they come to the stripe this time, this will be lap number 20. 30 laps to go. A lot of good challenges going on wherever you look. A little further back in the field, Eric Byrne has went around about 8 cars since the last caution. He's coming to the front and showing his talent, muscling his way to get into contention up front. Here comes Rocco. He's also coming back to life, but Teddy Christopher is a man with a mission. Christopher knows only one thing when he sets behind the wheel of a race car, and that's that he wants to win. Doesn't care about second, doesn't care about anything else but winning. And the Mystique Motorsports car knows its way to CarQuest Victory Lane.
And Mike Christopher in car number 33 has just gotten underneath Chris Osella to pick up another spot. Mike Christopher, 3rd on the all-time SK Modified win list at Stafford Speedway. He is looking tough in the backup car of his brother Ted.
They are just 3 laps shy of the halfway marker in this event, and Willie Hardie has been the dominant car so far. Trouble now down in turn number 1. It appears that car number 33, Mike Christopher, gets crossed up, goes up next to the ARFCO wall, but we don't think there was any heavy contact made there. Kurt Brainerd was also involved as well.
Robert Leone, please report to the Speedway office immediately. Robert Leone, please report to the Speedway office immediately.
So the caution flag comes out, lap number 22, just 3 laps shy of the halfway marker here in this SK Modified CarQuest special event. The leader in 22 circuits is car number 7 for Willie Hardie. Chuck Docherty, car number 78, the Jean-Guy Poulin Drywell machine, sets in 2nd. Davidson Food Company, number 3 for Jeff Malave, is 3rd over John Sandberg. Rounding out the top 5 is Woody Pitcat, back down on pit road.
Well, the Mystique Motorsports crew getting its workout here this afternoon, guys, as Teddy Christopher brings car number 13 back down to the attention of his crew as they're going to look towards the rear end part of the race car, mostly on the right rear. The crew looking down, maybe trouble with a lug nut that has come loose on the 13 car. Right behind me now, Frank Rocco, who was also involved in that incident, brings car number 97 down pit road. He's in his pit box, and the crew making an adjustment on the left rear. So a lot of action down here on pit road, guys, so let's go back upstairs.
There sure is. Work continues to take place. The 13 car making adjustments now. Remember, they were focusing on the front of that race car, but as Andy pointed out, the attention now goes to the rear to try to make the car turn itself. Unofficially, we have had 6 cautions in 22 laps, most of them for minor situations, and as you look just to the right of the scoreboard, James Savali's race car is moving under its own power again. I don't think it's coming back out, but you can see the car that was brought to the center of the infield, hammock style, is now running, perhaps not up to speed, but at least it's got all 4 wheels headed in the right direction once again, back down on pit road.
Yeah, guys, James Savali is not in the race car. He's sitting over in his pit stall right now. A little bruise on his hand that the medics took a look at. He is okay, but pretty much they just repaired the car to where it can roll so they can get it on the trailer, guys.
Well, we knew James's father was good, but considering the damage, he would have to be a miracle worker to get that car raceable again. Mr. Savali not only helps his son here at Stafford, he also lends a helping hand to a lot of other competitors here.
He really is a real nice guy who is a master mechanic and likes to help people. He's good for the sport of auto racing. You know, James Savali has had a tough day here today, but I will say this, that kid's got a ton of talent. He's very young, he's very aggressive. You're going to see a lot out of James Savali. You can put that in the bank. Right now, we're banking on who's going to get him into turn number 1 first, and it looks like Willie Hardie, but don't ever count out Chuck Docherty. Docherty making some magic of his own, but Willie Hardie takes advantage of this. Here comes Jeff Malave and Woody Pitcat waiting in the wings.
Woody Pitcat has the bottom groove to his advantage, battling with John Sandberg. Sean Tryon, who has an up-and-down afternoon. He's on the upswing now, moving into 6th. And what a battle taking place for 4th and 5th as those 2 cars are crazy glued together.
Woody Pitcat, the outstanding rookie, moves into the 4th spot. Will it be short-lived? Here comes Sandberg back to life, and of course Tryon, as you pointed out, with Teddy Christopher right there. There's still a long way to go. We're on lap number 24 as they head down into turn 1. We'll be on the 25th circuit soon, and there's no question about it. Sandberg now tries different strategy. He moves down underneath Pitcat, leaving the door open. Teddy Christopher's behind Pitcat. Let's see what's going to happen here.
And that 13 car making things work on the outside groove, or that's Mike Christopher in car number 33, as he has moved his way up to about 8th place.
Mike Christopher's coming on strong again, now challenging Pitcat as he works his way to the bottom of turn number 3. Can't do it this time. At the point, 3 cars have strung it out. No real challenges there, but there's a great battle going on for the 6th, 7th, and 8th spot. Eric Burt can be added back to that mix. Remember, he was involved in that altercation earlier. He's showing that he can run back to the front as well. 26 laps and counting.
And Mike Christopher now is surged into the number 6 position. Remember a race last year, Ben, when Mike was called on to be an emergency driver for Ted, and he wound up winning the race. So he is very capable in car number 33.
Rich Master looks like he's trying to come back out with car number 1 down at pit road. As we look at the field, it is still Willie Hardie. Chuck Docherty has tried everything. Well, maybe not everything, as he's trying to pace himself somewhat. Meanwhile, Jeff Malave is watching all of that unfold just in front of him, as 28 just clicked off on the scoreboard. John Sandberg back in the 4th spot. Tryon is 5th. Then we go to Mike Christopher in the 6th spot. 7th spot is Woody Pitcat. 8th position is Eric Burt. 9th is Chris Acella. And unofficially in the 10th spot is Jay Miller. Looks like car number 33 is getting the consultation flag. We'll be checking to find out more information on that. We believe that the situation there is fluid coming from beneath car number 33. Mike Christopher drops off the pace. We're still green and racing off turn number 4.
And he had a top 10 run that is spoiled by that consultation flag. Chuck Docherty, is he playing the waiting game behind Willie Hardie? You know, Chuck's a veteran, and he likes to make his equipment last until the end. So is he giving it everything he has, or is he just waiting for Willie Hardie perhaps to make a slip-up as the cars stampede their way across the stripe to finish lap 31?
A good battle between Teddy Christopher and Jay Miller, and now the number 22 car of Lloyd Agor tries to go to the inside of all of that. Spotter apparently did not let Miller know that the 22 was moving alongside. Steve Shawansky now makes the move in the transition there. There's Frank Rocco back into contention with car number 97. 32 laps into the record books. Willie Hardie still remains at the point. Docherty starting to puff a little smoke now, sets in second, about a car length, separates first and second, just a few inches separate second and third. Malave has been there all afternoon.
And a few furlongs separate third and fourth, but John Sandberg, who has run strongly all afternoon, holding off Chris Tryon. Woody Pitcat has settled into the number 6 position, and Eric Byrne, he's been at the front of the pack, in the back of the pack, and now he's fighting his way back toward the front. In 7th place, one notch ahead of Chris Ocello.
No question about it. We've got a yellow down the back straightaway. It appears that the Whist Tablets machine literally goes up in smoke. Involved is John Burgenti, Lloyd Agar, and Jeff Burrill, and Kurt Brainerd are the cars that are involved in this altercation. As now the Shawanski race car does get fired back up. Looks to head down a pit road. Let's go back down there for more information.
Well, I was on the back wall watching the cars come out of turn number 2. Shawanski lost it basically on his own, did 360s, and in the smoke, he then got hit. And that's what caused that accident. But that he spun all the way from the Coors Light sign down to where he stopped the car in the grass.
Caution number 7 comes out 33 laps of the 50-lap event, now into the record books. Leader is still Willie Hardie. At the point, Chuck Docherty, the Jean-Guy Poulin Drywell car, setting in second. TSI, Harley-Davidson, David's Food, number 3 in the 3rd spot. And in the 4th position is the number 27 for John Sandberg. Rounding out the top 5 is Sean Tryon, unofficially in the 6th spot. Woody Pitcat, 7th position. Eric Byrne, 8th position. Chris Acella, and 9th position, Teddy Christopher. That's currently how they stand as work continues. John Burgenti, his car being removed and brought back to the center of the infield. The most valuable tool on pit road is being used by the 47 team. It's a big sledgehammer that they're working on. And Andy Crane, any prizes there for being able to ring the big bell?
Well, they're ringing it, but pretty much out of frustration. It's something internal for Steve Chawanski with the Whisk Racing 47 car. The window net's down. Steve's about ready to climb on out of the race car. Their day is done.
Heartbreaking situation for that team. They've worked very hard all season long, and what an interesting season it was for team number 47. They started the year with Chuck Hosfeld, who just was so strong and so brilliant behind the wheel of that race car. Steve Chawanski comes back behind the wheel of the car. He picks up where Chuck Hosfeld left off, visited victory lane, showed his talent, showed the aggression and all the things that he was famous for. And now to end it on this kind of a note, kind of a hardship, Matt.
Yeah, so Steve Shawanski, after he got that first win, the first thing he said, he was surprised it took him so long to get it. But he was really a factor in the last month of the season in car number 47. And really, that car was up in the front the whole season. So Rob Shawanski, one of the crew chiefs involved in that operation, coming back to Stafford after an absence of a few years. Remember, they were a championship team back in 1999 when Jerry Marquis was the driver of that race team for Rob Shawanski.
Sure was, and of course that team has had a tremendous amount of success here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. So the field is under single file. They're checking the racing surface down the backstretch, and we'll be ready to double them back up and go back to racing. John Burgenti with his race car severely damaged down at pit road. You know, John Burgenti is one of those drivers, you might not have heard that name much in the 90s or in 2000. I want to tell you something. When I was a young guy and went to the races at the old Plainville Stadium and at Riverside Park and other great race facilities, John Burgenti was among the toughest guys to contend with. He was a great race car driver. He focused on his family business and his family and vacated the sport. But the best news of all, he's a real character both on and off the racetrack.
There was a segment we did on NASCAR New England when John Burgenti took us inside Lloyd Agor's toolbox. And he is quite a colorful character and just a talented driver. Every so often, you don't hear from John for about 5 or 6 years, and then all of a sudden he surfaces, and then when he gets into the race car, it's like he never left. And that happens like every 6 or 7 years, and you saw some of what he is capable of today in that car number 84. He was, at one time earlier this year, Ben, he was competing for Rookie of the Year honors at another track. He said he'll probably be the only rookie who will have to go to the stand to pick up his trophy in a wheelchair. That's how old he might be, but behind a race car, he is really a great competitor, like he never left.
Sure is. He's a great guy. You know, it's interesting to watch. You look at Teddy Christopher's team, and you'll discover that that team has some true veterans that are the crew chiefs or the masterminds behind it. But then there's a lot of that next generation of crew chief members. Ronnie Rocco, another great race driver, very colorful character. His two sons are involved on that team. Another name that comes back, Sonny O'Sullivan was one of the great drivers from out of the 70s, competed here and at Riverside Park Speedway, and his son is also involved as the crew chief and maintains the SK modified portion of that race team. So another generation. It all started at those little bull ring racetracks like the old Plainville Stadium, Riverside Park Speedway, Danbury Race Arena, and the old Westboro Speedway, and all those racetracks. They're gone now, but the memories and the foundation that was built there still lingers on here at Stafford. Back down at pit road.
Well, Mike Christopher is behind the wall. The 33 is parked. The temperature is getting to a number of cars. He overheated the car and he was unable to get it cooled down, so they pulled it behind the wall.
Why do so many professional automotive technicians buy the parts they install from CarQuest? Because of CarQuest quality. Their parts are built tough to withstand the stress of today's vehicles. And CarQuest stores back up what they sell with the CarQuest Coast to Coast warranty, honored by 4,000 stores nationwide. Shouldn't you treat your car to the best by shopping at CarQuest? Visit CarQuest.com for the store nearest you. More with Ben Dodge and Matt Buckler.
Down the back straightaway, we're about ready to go back to green. They'll head beneath that CarQuest marking, check with their spotters, and it'll soon be time to go racing again. Willie Hardie has been so strong at the point, but Chuck Docherty has been equally as impressive. We'll see what's going to happen here. Lap 33 and counting when they go back to green.
And Hardie has gotten most of the jumps on the restart. This time, Docherty decides to give him a run for his money as they head into turn one.
Docherty goes in deep in the outside lane. John Sandberg sneaks on by as Jeff Malave is hung out to dry on the inside with car number 3. For Docherty, is this the move that he's been waiting for? Off turn number 4, Willie Hardie still to the advantage. Docherty gets bumped. Sandberg pulls out of line. Malave back in third.
So Sandberg grazed against the grass, and it cost him several positions. Moving into the number 4 spot is Woody Pitcat. So a couple of laps ago, Woody was 6th, and he has rallied to move back into 4th place.
Don't count him out. He is definitely a contender in this afternoon's event. And look a little further back. It is Ted Christopher who's also coming back to the front of the field, now challenging Eric Berndt. That's currently the battle for the 6th and 7th spot. As they work their way down into turn number 3, Docherty has the power to reel him in. It's kind of the old cat and mouse game, Matt, off turn number 4.
He still has 14 laps in which to make his move. Malave has been in the top layer of cars all afternoon in car number 3. And Ted Christopher, let's see how much he has left in that car. You know, he spent a lot of time on pit road getting it adjusted. And right now he is giving the Bulldog, Eric Berndt, something to think about as they storm their way down the front straightaway.
Jeff Malave is now able to literally come right up on the back bumper of Chuck Docherty, who's been setting in second. Malave has a problem on the restarts, but once they get the cars back up to speed, he seems to gain a little. Not much, perhaps not enough to get around Docherty, but right now it's still Willie Hardie back to the line, lap 39.
And Chuck Docherty trying to hold off Malave. Docherty, a driver known for his patience. Malave, a driver known for his aggressiveness. So quite a combination behind Willie Hardie. It's been a long time between victory speeches for Hardie, but he looks tough as he opens up his lead over Docherty.
Well, when they come back to the stripe this time, there'll be less than 10 circuits to go in this SK Modified Feature event. Jeff Malave still all over the back of Docherty, but Willie Hardie's really starting to string it out now. His lead, which is about 3 car lengths over Docherty. Now Malave tried to pull out a line. He got literally sideways in an effort to try to gather it back. Meanwhile, a look at the board down in turn number 1. Car number 09 for Jay Miller has also been given the black flag. The bumper is dragging on the back of the Miller machine, so not a good day for Jay Miller with car number 09.
Willie Hardie continues to be the ringleader of this SK circus ahead of Chuck Docherty. And if Docherty's saving anything for the stretch run, it's about time that he puts it into play. Ted Christopher, after getting behind Eric Berndt, he's kind of leveled out there, and he is unable to make any progress from his 7th place position.
Down into turn number 1, it's still pretty much the same story. Single file formation among the top 10 cars. Tryon tried to get around the number 22, Lloyd Igor. It just didn't work that time as they come off turn number 4. It's still Willie Hardie, but that lead is starting to vanish again, Matt, as they head down in turn 1.
Perhaps Chuck did have a little thing left in reserve for the final laps, as he so often does. Docherty with a win in 2004, as he is gobbling away at the advantage of Willie Hardie. Things are getting interesting in turn 4.
No question about it. When they come back off the turn, they've closed it all up. There is less than 6 circuits remaining. Their spotters telling them, if you've got to go, you've got to make it happen pretty soon, because it's all going to be over unless you have that little extra to give you the advantage. Willie Hardie has driven a flawless race so far. He's been pressured by Chuck Docherty, Jeff Malave, and the cast that follows, but it's still Willie Hardie in command.
Docherty came close to getting the lead on one occasion, but a caution flag negated his move to the front, and since then, he has stared at the back bumper of Willie Hardie ever since.
Docherty right there, his car is loosened up considerably. You'll see him literally working the wheel now, trying to maintain enough to give him position number 1. Let's see what's going to happen as they head off turn 2.
Now he has just about eliminated the advantage from Hardie. So now Docherty tries to go to the outside, maybe wanted to make that diagonal move, but nothing has worked so far to derail Willie Hardie.
Less than 3 circuits. You know, the leader always has the advantage. He can slow the field down just a bit. He can run anywhere he wants to on the racetrack, and you just saw Willie Hardie pull off that move rather impressively. This time, when they come back to the line, 2-lap marker will be given. 1 mile left in the competition.
Does Docherty have any tricks left up his sleeve? Willie Hardie, still a pretty good safety valve between him and Docherty. Malave now has drifted off the pace a bit. And a new face in fourth place as John Sandberg has taken a spot away from Willie Pitcat. 1 to go for Willie Hardie.
Final circuit of competition. Willie Hardie has led them all. Will he be able to hold down in the final lap? Docherty right there waiting in the wings. Malave setting in the 3rd spot down to turn 3.
Docherty trying to make one move of this season to try to derail Hardie. They roar into turn 4. Hardie still has a top spot. A 3-way battle as they head for home.
Down to the line they come. It's Hardie to take down the win. Chuck Docherty to finish in 2nd. Jeff Malave for a podium finish in 3rd. Rounding out the top 4 unofficially. Great run for John Sandberg. And Woody Pitcat, the rookie, will finish the season with the top 5. Well, there's no question about it. He came, he saw, and he conquered. And he didn't falter when the heat was on. It is the Independent Services number 7 for Willie Hardie, back on top of his game. He'll be heading to CarQuest Victory Lane.
And it's been a long time between victory speeches for Willie Hardie. Remember early in the season, things got so bad, one night he had to borrow a car from Rich Vassar just to maintain his position in the points. But today, he was on the point for almost the entire 50 laps. Ben, you have to give Chuck Docherty a lot of credit. He did everything except yank the steering wheel out of Hardie's car, and nothing seemed to work as Willie seemed to know what Chuck was going to do, and every time Chuck made a move, Willie was able to make a counter move, and that's how you get to victory lane.
Chuck Docherty did an outstanding job, and the John G. Poulin Drywell team have a lot to be proud of as they close out the 2004 season. And what about Jeff Malave? He was there. He bid for it a few times. He knew when to reel him in and reel him out. He'll finish among the top 3 cars here this afternoon. So in just a few moments, we'll be heading to CarQuest Victory Lane. You've got a few moments to circulate throughout the grandstand area and down to get yourself something cold to drink, as we'll be back with the CarQuest Fall Final and the fastest division of the afternoon, the Featherlight Modifieds. But right now, our attention will shift down to CarQuest Victory Lane, where Willie Hardie is still strapped in the automobile. He'll be getting out very shortly. Enthusiasm galore, I'm sure, as we go to Andy Crane. Andy?
Well, Ben, of course, enthusiasm throughout the 7 team right now as a crew almost as happy as Willie Hardie is. As you can see the smile on that driver right now, the CarQuest hat about to come on, all the safety paraphernalia coming off, and Willie Hardie Jr. about to exit out of the race car as the celebration is going to begin down here in CarQuest Victory Lane. As Willie Hardie up on the roof, going to get the cold drink of milk now as there you go, Willie. Drink it up, buddy. It's been such an up and down season for you, Willie. good times, bad times. You had a stretch of bad luck there, though, where you had to borrow a race car one week, but now you end the season here in Victory Lane. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all my fans and all the support I got from my sponsors. The Independent Services number 7 was going real good today. Crew guys did a hell of a job. They kept me in this deal all year. Had some races where I wouldn't have stayed in if it wasn't for them, and it's just awesome. It's a hell of a way to end the season.
Well, take us through those final few laps. On the long run right there at the end, the car looked really good, but then Chuck Docherty started to come on at the end. Did you feel him back there?
I knew Chucky was there. He's a good driver. He had a real good race car there. I was just hoping we could hold him off, and we did, so we're in victory lane.
Now, a lot of drivers were complaining of overheating problems. Any trouble with the 7 car during the race?
No problem with overheating. The car was running, motor was running flawlessly. Billy the Kid motor, and chassis dynamics car, and transmission, clinic transmission, just all ran flawless today.
Well, an excellent job for you, Willie. Enjoy it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And like I said, I can't say enough about my sponsors, Independent Services. Arbitel's coming back with me. Rocky, here we go. It's a good way to start. Talon Napa, Country Diner. We have Personal Touch Landscaping. Just awesome job everybody did this year. And thanks to my crew. They're the ones that got me here.
Well, a lot of guys back up Willie Hardie, and you can see why as he puts car number 7 here in Victory Lane here on the CarQuest Fall Final.
Well, second place, Chuck Docherty being congratulated by his family, his car owner, the crew members. Man, you needed a couple more yellow flags.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? I'd like to thank Gene and Bridget and the whole team for a great season. And the car was really fast, and it was a good weekend all in all. Hope everybody enjoyed the show, and you got a great race coming.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was impressive to watch, and it wasn't for lack of trying. It wasn't on any place on the racetrack that you didn't put this automobile trying to get around Hardie.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You just do what you can, and that's that, I guess.
Well, Chuck Docherty, congratulations on second place, and move down to a third place finisher. Well, Jeff Malave taking the safety gear off his helmet. A good run, man. A couple times that you stuck your nose underneath, but there just wasn't enough room.
Just got to wait and be patient, that's all. Maybe something will happen. You know, it's a good car. Glad to be up in the top 3. Got to thank our owner, Dave Rowe, for giving us everything again. Our sponsors, Terry Transmissions, Bravo's Food. We had a great dinner up there last night. TSI, Harley Davidson, and Convenient Graphics.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've got a lot of work to do coming up here in a little bit. You're running the 150?
Yeah, it's a long day of work today.
Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of people would give their right arm and have the opportunity to drive. Congratulations on third place in the SKs.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it from down here in Victory Lane. We're going to send it back upstairs, but don't go anywhere. We have 150 laps of racing coming up.
Well, a great run for Willie Hardie, along with Chuck Docherty and Jeff Malave and the rest of the cast as they head back to the paddock area, compare their notes, and have all winter long to think about it. In just a few short moments after the Victory Lane ceremonies are concluded, we'll bring out the Featherlight Modified Series for the CarQuest Fall Final, the 32nd annual event.